Hello everyone, have you got a passion for regreening and you're wondering what projects have worked around the world to restore degraded ecosystems? Perhaps you're wondering about setting up your own project and you're wondering about initiatives that have successfully increased biodiversity and revitalised communities. Let's find out about these projects right now. Hello everyone, I'm Louise from the Social Strategy Cafe and it's lovely to have you here. This channel provides tools and tips for strategically developing your non-profit. So it doesn't matter whether you work for an NGO, whether you run a social enterprise or you have a charity. So we all hear about areas of our planet that have been devastated by deforestation or development. But what about regreening projects? Is it really possible to bring back healthy ecosystems that support wildlife and help protect against climate change? Grab yourself a cuppa and let's take a look. According to the International Fund for Animal Welfare, landscape restoration is one of the many nature-based solutions to climate change that utilise natural assets and biodiversity to mitigate, adapt to and build resilience in the face of climate change. But have any projects really successfully restored desert in dry or arid areas? Well, in parts of China, long tube-shaped sandbags are turning barren deserts into green land. By blocking the wind and holding the sand in place, they are creating the conditions for plants to grow and pushing the desert back step by step. In Kenya, semicircular pits are dug to capture rainwater that would otherwise run away over dry soil. By holding the moisture in place, they give dormant seeds the chance to grow. And it only takes one rainy season to restore the land. In areas of Kenya where there are lots of stones, stone lines are being created which slow down rainwater and slow down soil erosion. These stone lines trap organic matter and seeds, which gives new plants the time and space to grow. In Nigeria, trees and shrubs used to be cleared on agricultural land to give crops space to grow. But then it became clear that protecting these shrubs and trees protected the agricultural lands. So they are now being defended and enabling agricultural crops to be able to be grown between the trees and shrubs. This is being called farmer-managed natural regeneration. In Senegal, young trees are protected from grazing animals until their roots are strong enough so that they can continue to protect the land. In fact, there's an extremely ambitious project called the Great Green Wall, which spans 11 countries across the Sahel region in Africa. The goal is to create 8,000 kilometres of trees and vegetation to combat desertification. So far, millions of hectares have been restored, which improves food security and creates many jobs. So what about regreening forests? Well, in the Netherlands, a food forest has been created on just 6 acres of land between a monocropped agricultural field and a preserved forest. The land holds 32 different species of food plant. And after 12 years, researchers came and found that biodiversity had increased. The food forest had higher numbers of nesting birds, butterflies and ground beetles than the surrounding areas. In addition, when heavy rains occurred, the surrounding areas of the food forest suffered greatly and were heavily flooded. Yet the food forest was able to absorb all the excess water and avoided major flooding. Yet during a drought, the surrounding fields required heavy watering, yet the food forest remained stable. In Brazil, tree planting and tree protection is taking place to allow areas to regenerate. Ecosia claim that in one area, 9.5 million trees grew back in 7 years, and this was purely through working with firefighting teams and raising awareness about fire prevention. In Finland, Tree Mountain was created to restore land devastated by mining. Agnes Dennis worked with 11,000 people from around the world to plant 11,000 pine trees in an intricate formation known as the Golden Ratio. Each planter received an inheritable certificate, naming them and their descendants custodians of their tree. In Turkey, a forest manager led the planting of 30 million trees, which transformed dry and degraded land into a flourishing ecosystem. This amazing project created new habitats for animals, protected against soil erosion, and provided cleaner air. In Costa Rica, 12,000 tons of orange peels were dumped on an area of land that had been degraded. 15 years later, Princeton researchers went to check out and see what had happened. What they found out was that the tons of fruit waste had fertilized the land. And this resulted in richer soil, more tree biomass, greater tree species richness, and greater forest canopy closure. The lowest plateau restoration in China used to be one of the most eroded landscapes in the world. However, through tree planting, terracing, and sustainable farming, millions of hectares have been rehabilitated. The result was increased crop yields, reduced flooding, and revived biodiversity. As one forestry worker put it, all the birds returned. So is it possible to regreen urban environments? Well, yes. In Bangkok, a former tobacco factory has been turned into a park. According to the builders, during heavy rains, the park acts as a natural sponge and can absorb the equivalent of 35 Olympic-sized swimming pools worth of water. Paris in France is currently ripping up concrete and planting mini forests. 100,000 trees have been planted since 2020, and the idea is for Paris to become a real garden city, replacing parking spaces and roadways with bicycle paths and trees. In Singapore, vertical gardens are being created amongst the concrete buildings, which is improving air quality and reducing the city's temperature. And they are even building super trees, which harvest rainwater, generate energy through solar panels, and increase biodiversity. An innovative technology has been developed by a high school student in Brazil, which uses AI, data analysis, and satellites to identify the best, most effective places to plant trees and greenery in urban areas so that they can become cooler. So there really are some exciting developments happening in regreening. Please let us all know if you hear about any more. And if you have an idea of a video you'd like to see, please let me know in the comments below. Have a great week, everyone.